Here's an update on Chris and David, not their real names. Just a refresher. Both were arrested in October and both were granted bail. There's been a couple of court dates since, which I missed because I didn't become aware of the cases until the police issued a media release after the court dates. Both are listed for mention in Cessnock Local Court in mid-November 2023. I attend. There's 91 cases listed at Cessnock on this day. I'm not 100% sure who they are in this small crowd of defendants and solicitors, but I have the names from the paper. I sit in the gallery early where the register is already dealing with cases. Remember, I missed Adam's case last time because it was dealt with by the register. I don't want to make that mistake again. Court starts at 9:30. First up is a dog attack case brought by local council. Then a private AVO, but it looks like the defendant hasn't been served, so doesn't know it's being heard. Then a variation to an AVO, then a stalk and intimidate case who narrowly avoids jail. Then there's another case or another, which I'm honest, I don't hear 98% of the time. I'm barely following. At one stage, the magistrate says, quote, "The acoustics are atrocious." I actually heard him say that from the back of the gallery, and I wanted to yell out, "I second that," but I don't because yelling from the gallery is not allowed. What I also note is don't judge the defendant on how they look or the fact that they are a defendant. The defendants who are representing themselves in some of these cases spoke really well in the bits that I could hear. They were to the point, they made good arguments, and they handled the pressure. Then there are more cases. There's an assault police, there's a mid-range drink driving, someone breached an AVO yesterday and bail was revoked. Basically, I sit there for an hour and a half waiting for Chris and David's cases. At about 11 a.m, David's case comes up. He is present and he has a solicitor. It was referred to the DPP who declined, so it's staying with the police prosecutor, and I'm assuming staying in Cessnock. This is the second time at court, and it's indicated the court will need a plea at the next court date later in November. It's all over in 1 or 2 minutes, and David leaves. Cases continue. Next, there's a couple of AVOs, and then I'm really wanting morning tea by this stage. However, I only have to wait 15 minutes, and Chris's case comes up. He is present and has a solicitor. At the start, there's some uncertainty. I'm not sure, but this magistrate quickly gets everyone on the same page. The DPP has declined, just like in David's case, and pleas were entered. I'm surprised here because I read in the papers that they hadn't entered pleas yet. The magistrate reminds everyone what the pleas are. Buckle up. Now, this is easy for them, but impossible for us to follow in the gallery. Why? They use the last 3 numbers of the police number, which isn't public. We have the justice number, which is from the court list. That's 2 different numbers. Then they talk in sequence numbers. A sequence is a charge, and they don't actually say the charge. So it goes. In the case ending some numbers, they plead guilty to sequence 1, 3, 4, and 5, and not guilty to sequence 2. He has 2 cases, so the same again, guilty to this sequence and not guilty to that sequence. One of those charges is the bushfire offence. I've no idea which one it is. It's very confusing. Also, I can't use my laptop like the media does while I'm in the gallery. So I'm the one with a pen and paper madly scribbling away, trying to make sense of what's unfolding. Chris's solicitor asked for the case to be stood down so he can have a discussion with Chris. Magistrate agrees, which means they move on to the next case, and when they return, they'll just rejoin the solicitor queue. About 5 minutes pass, and Chris and his solicitor return. There's a couple of cases, and then they're back on. Here I will summarise because there's a lot of discussion about sequences. Chris wants to seek a plea reversal, meaning he wants to change one of his guilty pleas back to not guilty. That can be a complex task, but for the legal eagles here, it's an interesting exercise. For context, a person can plead not guilty, then change to guilty during the proceedings. However, early guilty pleas may be eligible for sentencing discounts. The court rules allow a person to change a guilty plea to a not guilty during proceedings, but you need to go through a process, which includes an interests of justice test. I'm not sure how this is going to unfold, but we will see when it returns in late January 2024. Before I leave, I decide to ask at the court office which sequence number is the bushfire offence. I find out which one, great. However, I'm not sure if it's the guilty, not guilty, or the one that is seeking a reversal. I'm confused. I'll just have to listen more carefully at the next court date. I'll keep you posted.